Hello everyone, welcome to Crystal Rose Realm. I'm Crystal and I'm here to talk to you today about some books that I have read. So I'm going to start off with some Disney villain books. They are by Serena Valentino. I don't remember how I came across them. May have been through TikTok. I'm not 100% quite sure because it's been a long time since I started reading them. So they have pretty much all the Disney villains. I mean, maybe she's missing a couple still, but the ones that I have read is, and I have a list down here because I don't know all of them off the top of my head or the names of them, to be quite honest with you. There is Fairest of All. It is the evil queen from Snow White. It basically, with all these stories, it basically tells you how they came to be the villain of Snow White, 101 Dalmatians, Peter Pan, all that kind of stuff. So there's Fairest of All. So Fairest of All is just basically, it's the backstory of the evil queen, how she came to be the evil queen and why she hates Snow White so much. Second one would be The Beast Within. So that's the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Again, it tells you the whole backstory as to why he was transformed into a beast. And he was not a good guy, I'll tell you that. He wasn't at all. Like, there was a reason why he was changed into a beast. And it doesn't go into like the whole story of like Beauty and the Beast and stuff. It doesn't go into that. It just literally does the backstory of every villain. The one after that one would be Poor Unfortunate Souls, which is about Ursula. She's actually King Triton's sister, if you didn't know that, but you may have. Next one would be Mistress of Evil, which is Maleficent. This was one of the ones that I found more interesting. I found there was a better story to it. And Maleficent has always been one of my favorite villains. I did enjoy the movie that came out with it with Angelina Jolie. So after that one would be Mother Knows Best. This was my number one villain book that I read. I was very intrigued by it because it goes to the backstory of witches and witchcraft and like the backstory of Mother Gothel, and she's actually part of this whole like witch sisterhood of like her family's actually witches and her mom's this huge like witch. Yeah, again, I don't want to give too much away, but the backstory of her was amazing. It was my like number one out of all the villain books that I read with like the Disney villain books. After that would be The Odd Sisters. So this one is about 3 witches, and I want to say, I'm pretty sure it's from, if you've ever seen Hercules, the movie, Disney cartoon, the 3 witches that are in the Hercules movie, this is The Odd Sisters. And then it tells their story and where they're from and why they do what they do, because they're actually intermingled with all of the Disney villain books. They're actually the reason why, like, shouldn't say the reason. They're actually the ones who change the villain's fate when they become villains. So that one gives the backstory of the Odd Sisters and how they came to be. The next would be Evil Thing, which is Cruella de Vil's backstory. Hers I was kind of intrigued, but I mean, she was treated horribly, and I believe it was by her mother. Again, some of these books I haven't read in like 2 years. Then after that would be Cold Hearted, which is the Lady Tremaine story. And her story I found was really sad, her backstory, like what she went through. I don't like how she came to be who she was because of that. Like, it just, I mean, the title of the story gives it away. It's Cold Hearted. Like, she turns very cold hearted and rude and cruel, but you would see reading her backstory why she ends up being that way. The next would be Never Never. This one I was actually thinking to myself, you know what? I don't think Hook is the villain here. I think Peter Pan is. Just from hearing Captain Hook's backstory and how he came to be and what Peter Pan did and all of that stuff. Like, I just was like, maybe Captain Hook isn't really the villain. Maybe it's Peter Pan who's the actual villain. So I was just reading that one because that one got me more thinking about even the past ones, to be like, well, are they really that villainous, or was it just life circumstances and that's the route they chose to go in their life? You know, that's the path they chose. The next one after that would be Fire and Fate, which is the Hades story. This one I found really interesting too, because you actually find out that Hades, and maybe Hercules did touch up on it, the cartoon movie. I can't remember because I haven't seen that one in that movie in forever. But Hades is Zeus's brother, and he's basically destined, like Zeus is destined to be this high god, and Hades is destined to be in the dark realm, not dark realms. He's supposed to be down in hell collecting these souls. I can't remember the actual terms that they use for it, but it was like their destiny to be in these certain areas for their life, for their path. So that one is a good read. I would give that one also a read, just because it goes in the backstory. Like, again, all of them, it's all the backstories of all the villains and how they came to be. And that's what really intrigued me in these books, because I really wanted to see what somebody would have written to be the backstory of these villains and how they came to be. There is another set of series. It's Twisted Tales. And let me just see if I wrote down the author here. So it's Twisted Tales by Liz Braswell. The only Twisted Tale that I have read is What If Belle's Mother Cursed the Beast. So it's basically the backstory. It's all tales that it changes the story. So if it wasn't what it is in the movies, it's more like, what if I forget what she is. Is she a sorceress or a witch that changes the prince into the beast? The whole story is, what if that was Belle's mom? And then they found out, like, after they fall in love and whatnot, that, you know, it's Belle's mom who actually was the one who did it. So that one was really intriguing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Again, these books I read 2, maybe even 3 years ago now. So I don't know the little details. I just know the broad spectrum of what the story is about. So there are ones within these series that I still want to read, and I'm hoping I can read, because then I can give you a more in-depth book review into those actual books, because it'll be more fresh in my noggin, because I didn't think to do any of this stuff back when I was actually reading the books. So with the Disney villain books by Serena Valentino, I still have to read Kill the Beast, which is the backstory of Gaston and why he became a villain, which I find very interesting, because I guess I never even thought about it, but they think of the Beast as a villain as well as Gaston. So there's 2 villains in the Beauty and the Beast. So I have to read Kill the Beast, and I also have to read Heartbroken, which is the Queen of Hearts. Another one of my favorites, Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, and then obviously there's all of the Twisted Tales that I haven't read yet. I've only read the one, and I plan on reading, I'm hoping, all of them, but it might take some time for me to do that. So I want to read all the Twisted Tales. I'm just going to name a couple that I remember off the top of my head, because there's so many of them. I think there's like 10 plus of these books. But there's Conceal Don't Feel. So that's the story of Anna and Elsa from Frozen. There is a one about Mulan. There's The Little Mermaid, so one with Ursula. There's one about Peter Pan. So yeah, there's just so many of them that I want to read still. My TBR list is insane. I can't tell you how big it is right now. I've got so many books that I need to read, and I'm pretty sure everybody who reads books, their TBR list is like never ending. I'm sure that's like the never ending story for every person who reads books. So yeah, those are the Disney books that I have read. I plan on reading more. There are books that are inspired by Disney characters, so I want to read some of those. And there's also some out there that are actually like 18 plus, so there's some spiciness going on that I've seen on TikTok. So maybe I'll get those on my TBR as well. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can write them down in the comments. If you want to know the names of the books, I can also put them down in the comment section so that you guys can have all the names, so that you know what they're called and who the author is. I hope you have a magical day, and just remember that no matter what you go through in life, don't become a Disney villain. Or do. Maybe it's fun. I don't know. But anyways, I'll see you next time, guys. Until then, happy reading. Bye.